Quitting is for winners. I know, that seems counterintuitive, and I'm a little biased because I've quit so many things in my life. But once you assign your identity to overcoming a hill, to just be one thing, that's when you start to lose. And I've quit at so many things throughout my life, especially as someone who's about to graduate college. Last year, I was gonna be a real estate agent. The year before that, I was gonna go into advertising. Then it was going to be software design or entrepreneurship, or I would just be a full-time MMA fighter and give up everything else. And at times, I've felt shame for giving up on what were supposedly my dreams, but the further I've come, the more that I realized I was just figuring it out. And trying out all these different identities is what has given me the confidence and freedom to know what I want to do in the present. And as young adults, we are constantly asked what we want out of life. It's almost shoved down our throats. I'm sure you've all heard it. Oh, so you're graduating college soon. So what do you plan on doing after college? Oh, you're a business major. You must love marketing. Oh, you must love accounting. It's like I have to choose one thing for the rest of my fucking life. Like I've only had this idea of what I've wanted to do maybe for like the past 6 months. But we're in a society where choosing as seen as virtuous. We celebrate the kids that are able to say, oh, I'm 16 years old and I'm going to be an astronaut. It's like, congratulations, jackass. You really gonna know what you're gonna do? But even though having this degree of decisiveness at a young age is unrealistic and often unsustainable, it's celebrated. Those people are champions because they don't have to struggle with this great burden of indecision that most of us go through. And so we propagate these robots of life that are just able to walk through the door and drone away on a one-size-fits-all path. But the people that are thinkers, the people that are intellectuals, we feel a greater degree of anxiety towards what we want to figure out in life, because we understand that this decision has huge consequences. I mean, what I decide to do after college is a massive commitment. It determines my work-life balance. It determines the people that I meet. It determines the places that I go and the person that I become. So why are we forced down this path at such an early age when these decisions are massively consequential? Part of this equation is that knowing earlier on allows you to alleviate stress. If I'm able to convince myself that I'm gonna do this one thing, then it simplifies my life. I don't have to do this constant processing of weighing and debating and negotiating with myself of like, no, I actually am not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be the next best waiter or comedian for that sake. And that's stressful. But that decision, that decisiveness is more driven out of fear than it is out of resolution. And that requires us to look inwardly, to say, I don't really fucking know what I want to be. And putting on all these hats and trying out all these different variations of life are what allow us to accumulate more color. With real estate, I realized that this non-structured kind of work-life balance is something that I wanted, and that understanding the ways that people connect to the world around them, to the economy, is important. When I tried to be, this consultant or marketing student, I realized that I like to communicate to people. I like to be on stage with a microphone and perform. But I don't want to perform for companies. I want to perform for an audience. I want to communicate my message. I want to connect with the world. And for as much as I love MMA, that can't be the only thing that I do, because there's so much color and beautiful things in life that I enjoy that are outside of the scope of a one-note path. And in doing so, if I had allowed these critical voices to enter my head, if I had allowed the shame of indecision to obstruct me, then I would be on a path setting up the rest of my life towards misery. And I'm thankful that I have the privilege of indecision. But this privilege of indecision is something that we should seek out. I recommend finding new methods of buying yourself time. Maybe that's taking a part-time job. Maybe that's taking a gap year. Maybe that's just studying abroad or just slowing down the pace of life and simplifying it. Because when you're able to simplify your day-to-day basis, you're able to experiment and pull in different sides of your self to come up with this mix, this colored, muddy brownness of humanity that allows you to decide, oh, this is what I really want to do. And ironically, having this greater degree of indecision is actually better for today's marketplace. For as much as it sucks to be a part of capitalism, it exists. And with this instability of this job market and the career paths in front of us, we are subject to change. We don't know what's going to happen. And so if you foothold yourself into one position, yeah, maybe you'll become the world's greatest expert in this area of study. And maybe you only need one thing to make you happy, but that runs the risk of it being stripped out from underneath you. But because I've spent time developing these various sides of myself, and because we've spent time in this liminal space of indecision, we're actually able to better pivot, because this skill of communication or this skill of creativity can be fit into various sides of our character, into various sides of society. And this is where we have to be able to get weird. I'm sorry, like trying out these different personalities is kind of like method acting. All right, I'm gonna talk to these real estate people and be a businessman, or I'm gonna think about being an engineer and get my nerdy hat on. Like, you have to be willing to sacrifice a certain degree of your identity and not to hold your identity to a label. And that is the importance of self-worth, because it allows you to fit anywhere and still know who you are. So we have to begin to walk back these superficial ways that we commodify our identity and develop the self-talk to say that I love you no matter who you are, what you are, and what space you're in. And with this self-assuredness, then we can put on these various shapes and be the keys that unlock new doors of opportunity. And yes, at times this will be embarrassing. At times you'll be shamed. You'll feel like a bit of an outcast in spaces that you don't belong. But this is the beautiful nature of life, because the soul was always meant to be transformative. Your soul changes throughout your entire life. I can't just be one thing when I am this complex blend of colorful emotions. So yes, we should go into these opportunities with new hope. That quitting is what will eventually lead us to our ultimate decision, to be colorful people, to be complex people, and navigate the world on our terms, through our independence, through our forged internal identity. I guess the point is, people are terrified of being nobody for a few months while they switch lanes. They'd rather be somebody they hate for 40 years. So sit back and relax and tell yourself it's okay to quit, because it's better to travel through indecision to live a lifetime of hating who you are.